Hey everyone, happy Monday. Hope everyone had a good weekend, and it is now time for another episode of Day in the Life of Vintage Classic Specialist. So, motors happened today, and I will come back to those. So let me start with the Barndoor here, see where this thing's coming here. So our parts for the Safari windows came in minus the glass, which I ordered today, and the glass should be here hopefully in a day or two. It's just coming from Wolfgang International, which is basically local to us. I think so anyway. Yeah, I think they're here in SoCal somewhere. Anyway, whatever. We'll have it in a day or two. So I don't really have much for show and tell. However, I can show you some holes there and there, and likewise on the other side. So Safari windows on barn doors are a bit different. So unlike on here, let's walk over here real quick so you guys can appreciate the difference here. So unlike 55 and a half and up buses, where the Safaris have a piano hinge style hinge that mounts up underneath here, on barn doors they had much more like, I don't know, I guess what I'd call like an old school hinge, more like this. Just two of them. So basically one here and one here on each window. And yeah, I mean, a lot like this traditional style hinge that you see here, just a single unit about this wide with, two pieces and a pin through it. So that's how they mounted. And they actually mounted all the way through to the inside. So yeah, you got to put holes up here too, which is kind of scary on a bus this bitchin' and valuable. So it's one of those like not even measure twice, cut once thing. It's like, measure 3, 4, 5 times and cut, or in this case, drill once. But yeah, Rafa spent a lot of time making sure that everything was centered the best that it could be, and so on and so forth. And then yeah, at some point you just got to take the plunge and drill some holes. So we got those in. And then he had to do a lot of work on the frames. They were a little rough, like where the joints of the frames are. So by joints, I'm talking about like essentially like this area where the pieces go together. They were a little rough. They had some burrs on them. No big deal, but while cleaning up that kind of stuff so they would assemble nicely. And then yeah, test fitting them, lots of test fitting, more test fitting, and then more test fitting yet. And then, yeah, again, those holes, so 2, 4, 6, 8. And then the brackets, which get welded in. And I'm sorry, I don't have my light handy, but I think you can see the weld there and there. And then likewise, sorry, I feel like a bozo, should have brought my light. Anyway, you can see weld there and there. So that's pretty much how they were done. So these would have been, for the most part, installed by the dealer, and the dealer would have like welded these in and yeah, touched up the paint, and there you go. So yeah, and then once the glass is in and the seals and everything like that, and the hinges are mounted, then pretty much you put on the latches down here on the bottom and the little latch plates and get all that stuff lined up. So it's definitely a process to put these in. However, I don't know that there are too many things more cool than cruising around in a barn door bus with Safari windows. And this guy's going to be doing it in Hawaii in a right-hand drive combi barn door bus nonetheless, with Porsche brakes and wheels and a bitchin' fairly one-of-a-kind performance old school 36 horse 1500 cc motor. So yeah, honestly, just I'm so happy for this guy when he finally gets this thing and is able to pop those Safaris and cruise around on the island there. Man, it's going to be very cool for him. So yeah, pretty much Rafa spent all day very carefully getting those things ready to install. And so our painter that we use primered those frames today, and then I don't know, probably paint them tomorrow. I'm not 100% sure. And then, yeah, then the glass should be in a day or so. They can be assembled. And then, at that point, it's like the latches and stuff like that. So hopefully, see, Rafa works Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Yeah, maybe by Wednesday. I don't know. We'll see. Those Safaris will be done. So stay tuned for that. So I started my day off with this beauty here, the orange It's like somebody mentioned reminds them of a creamsicle, those orange flavored, what do you call it? Geez, I'm having a senior moment here. Frozen theme popsicle? Yes, geez, there's the word. Orange flavored popsicles with the creamy stuff in the middle, creamsicle or dreamsicle. Anyway, worked on this one for a while this morning. Went ahead and his backing plates were super ugly, as were most everything else on the front of this car, so you can't really see it, but I spent a while cleaning those up and then went ahead and painted them and stuff, just so they look nice like the rest of it. I hate having like an ugly part with a bunch of nice looking parts. His drums were okay, so I just basically left them. But anyway, yeah, so went ahead and cleaned up, painted his backing plates, and then assembled everything. Got new brake hoses because his brake hoses were looking kind of cracked and stuff. I didn't really trust them. Put everything back together. Cleaned his shocks up, put those on. Pretty much got the front of this thing back together. And then Jacob and I bled the brakes, and we got them bled, and they feel amazing. And then, so the master cylinder is not leaking. You see I've got a paper towel under there, so I would see any like little drop or drip or whatever there. And so, yeah, we finished bleeding them, and we're like, cool, we're good. However, later Jacob happened to look and notice, I don't know if you can see on there how wet that hose is. And then, yeah, this was like dripping down here. So it seems as if the reservoir itself has maybe like a little crack in the bottom of it, because it's pretty much leaking out fluid, albeit slowly, but it needs to not leak at all. So I will be replacing that and the little hose there probably tomorrow. Shouldn't really have to bleed the brakes, because if you leave the metal line here intact and stuff, you can pretty much replace that without introducing any air down into the cylinder there. So any bubbles where you put on the new hose, pretty much from like the end of the hard line up, those bubbles will kind of rise up and you know, percolate up and go away. There's no real chance of those bubbles making it down into the master cylinder, which again does not seem to leak. So yeah, we shouldn't even have to bleed the brakes again, and we'll replace all this stuff here with new non-leaking versions, and then yeah, then his brakes should be done. And then started looking into some tire sizes today for the front of this. Probably going to go a little bit smaller in height than stock. So stock tires on these are about 25 inches tall, which is pretty much what his back tires are. So I'm probably going to go with more like a 24-inch tire, 24.5 inch on the front, and maybe like a 175 in width, which is a little wider than stock. His rear ones are 195s. So I definitely want to be a little narrower and a little shorter than the back tires. And I think that's going to look really good on here. And then again, we're going to try and like more or less level out the suspension, maybe a tiny bit of rake, but we'll see. But yeah, for sure, these tires are going to look super dumb on here now, especially now that the front end is going to be, you know, significantly higher than it was before. So that's one of the next things on here, is getting those, deciding on the tires, getting those on order, and then, yeah, get the rest of this thing back together. And then once I take care of this leak here and I'm comfortable with the brakes, then his gas tank can go back in, and this thing's going to be a long way toward being done here. So anyway, motors. I promised you guys I'd be talking about motors. Let's start with this one. So this is, of course, the 1500cc 36 horse for our favorite Barndoor. And yeah, so today it officially became a long block. It's not quite a complete long block because his rocker assemblies didn't come in. And so those still have to go on, and then I still have to make his push rods. And I showed you guys last week the adjustable push rod that I made. So once I get his 1.25 to 1 ratio rockers from Speedwell USA, then I'll use this to determine the length of the push rods, cut and assemble the push rods, and then yeah, then pretty much this thing is going to be an official long block. So to me, it's a long block only when like everything including the valves is done, then it's officially fully a long block. And so yeah, and then the only other thing I have to do too is set the end plate still. So pretty much rockers and flywheel and in play, and then I'm going to say that's officially a long block. And then we can start building it up to there, or from there rather. So that was this one. So pretty big milestone there, getting the heads and cylinders and pistons and all that good stuff on. So this beauty here is the 40 horse, which is a 1385 cc for the gorgeous gray bus back there on the corner. That's 63. Mouse gray, by the way. And so, yeah, Jacob went ahead and started doing some kind of like assembly, maybe pre-assembly today of this. So the owner had already had a pretty nice looking rebuilt generator. He's got a nice looking rebuilt fuel pump, distributor. He's got a restored coil. So he's got kind of most a carburetor. He's got pretty much all the accoutrements that go onto the motor to make it, like a full turnkey motor. We, of course, took care of all of his tin and did, body work, metal body work on it, had it all powder coated. I did confirm with him today. He has a very nice new old stock 40 horse fresh air muffler, and he says he wants that ceramic coated. I wish I had thought to ask him a week or so ago, because I would have got it done last time I had some ceramic coating done, but probably go ahead and run that down tomorrow and get it done. And then, yeah, this thing should go together pretty fast here, because other than the muffler, we have just about everything else. And so, yeah, it's going to be a super nice looking motor. And, yeah, we'll get it all together, and then we'll probably go ahead and do the cam brake in and, check for leaks, all that good stuff here on the engine stand. And then, yeah, let's see, maybe going in this bus here in the next a couple weeks or so, maybe, realistically. So, yeah, good job to Jacob on this. It's looking amazing here. He's doing a great job with assembling it. And what else? I think that is actually it, guys, for today. So, again, hope everyone's having a good Monday. Kick off to your week here. And I will see you again tomorrow. Thanks for watching. Bye.